One beat Gwen Gorgenson, defending world champion, 6 World Series wins in a row, and a run so strong it strikes fear into the opposition. It is quite a sight to behold, to see her scything through the field. But if there is a course to neutralise that advantage, it is in Auckland. It's a choppy swim because of the wind. You've got a hilly and technical cycle, which many consider to be her weakness, relatively speaking, of course. One thing's for sure, though, she'll want to win here because she's never done it before.
Gorgenson strides home for victory. 2 wins in a row. Gorgenson takes first position. Her 3rd win of the new campaign. She's done it in some style. Her 4th straight win. And she finishes with a flourish.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
She is going to be very, very hard to stop this season.
The magnificent Seven.
Looking at Auckland, what do you make of the course here?
Yeah, you know, it's a tough course here. It's a choppy swim, and then you get out, and the bike is obviously what Auckland is known for. In the WTS, the hills, you know, 3 hills per lap, and it's definitely a strength hard course. It's going to be fun.
Javier Gomez described it as an honest course. He said it was really punishing.
That is very true. You cannot hide on this course. And, you know, I've had mixed results here in the past. My first year I did it, I got 2nd, and it was really good. And then I had a DNF, and I had a 12th, so it's just kind of been a mixed bag. And so for the past few years, I've been really trying to work on my swim and my bike. And my number 1 goal is to come out of T2 with the leaders.
Who do you think your main rivals will be?
Yeah, you know, just looking at Abu Dhabi, who did well, you know, Lisa obviously is really strong right now on the bike, and Andrea, she's always up there, and local New Zealand, so it'll be tough to beat her with the home crowd behind her.
You've won consecutive events now, but it's the first time you've been world champion, and you've got a target on your back.
I don't really think about it that way, you know. I think it's an honor to be world champion, and to come out, I feel like I need to respect that and give it my best in every race. And my main goals for the year are to qualify for the Rio Olympics, so my main goal is the Rio Test event in August this year. I'm going to be targeting that to try to qualify for the Rio 2016 Games, and so that's just what I'm focusing on this year.
How difficult is it preparing for an event like the Olympics, where you're focused on one event when you've spent most of your career focusing on a championship?
Yeah, you know, focusing on one event, I think you can put more pressure on yourself, which isn't necessarily good, but in the past I've been known to do that. I just kind of get a little bit worked up. You know, you focus all year or however long of a time period is on one event, and that can get a little nerve-wracking. You never know what could happen. You could get a flat tire, or something out of your control could happen.
Oh, and Gorgenson went down face first. Gorgenson is out of the race and on her way to the medical centre.
But you just have to prepare yourself to the best of your ability to do whatever you can to get through the race.
A phenomenal performance in Abu Dhabi. A lot of people didn't think you could get any faster on the run, but you've proved them all wrong.
Training has been going well, and you know, I had a few good run sessions, but I really surprised myself at how well I did in the run in Abu Dhabi.
A couple of people have said that you should be in professional running, not triathlon.
Oh, you know, I actually did one track workout with a professional runner in Australia earlier this year, and she could drop me in a second, so I don't know about that.
So can Gwen take out Auckland for the first time? Whatever, though, we're guaranteed a new champion, because last year's winner, Jodie Stimpson, was unfortunately had to pull out with an Achilles niggle. Matt Chilton's your commentator once again. This time alongside him, it's Annie Emerson.
Here's the start list. Gwen Gorgenson wears 1 as the world number 1, world champion. An epic season last year, and she's kicked off with another win, taking the victory in Abu Dhabi. Annie Howe could be one to watch today. The German Lucy Hall goes for Great Britain, number 25. 55 going for Great Britain is Jessica Learmont. Keep an eye on her. There are a total of 57 due to start, and they're being gradually introduced to the spectators down at Quayside. Round 2 of the 2015 World Triathlon Series about to get underway in Auckland. And away they go. Always a spectacular start. Spectators lined up on the various piers and wharves around this part of Auckland Harbour. Queen's Wharf, the venue for this 1,500-metre swim to be followed by a 40k ride around the streets of Auckland and then a 10k run. It's the full Olympic distance. Alongside me, Annie Emerson. The sun's just come out just to light up the start of this race.
Well, yeah, it has, and I don't think the weather conditions have been particularly good here, so I think the athletes are going to be really happy to see some sun, and it's not raining, which it was this morning, and better conditions than perhaps the athletes might have thought of early on this morning when they woke up.
And it's Jessica Learmonth who leads the swim at this stage, wearing number 55. Now, she is one of the Leeds group of triathletes, along with the Brownlee brothers and various others. She's a great swimmer, national medalist in the water, Jessica Learmonth. And she's proving those swimming skills here with a blistering start. Look at her leading the way as the arrowhead starts to form at the front of the swim. Jessica Learmonth looks very easy and relaxed as she leads the field here.
Yeah, she certainly does. And in this swim here, we normally see the swimmers still quite wide early on and then turning into that arrowhead. But you can just see the pace she's putting on here has made them all jump on behind, because the swimmers are finding this pace pretty tough.
There's a big inflatable buoy here that they'll turn around. Now, this is where Jessica Learmonth will be happy to be out in front, because she will turn untroubled. But behind her, there's a bit of a pack closing in, and this is where things can get a bit lively at times in these World Triathlon Series races. So far, no incident and drama. It's a little untidy at times, especially if you get trapped on the inside lane on the turn.
Oh, really great to see Jessica Learmonth from Great Britain here, really pushing the pace at the front of the swim. Just looking at our front two swimmers here, looks like both colours of the Great Britain uniform here, so I guess that's Lucy Hall there on Jessica's feet.
55, Jessica Learmonth. 25, Lucy Hall from Great Britain, another accomplished swimmer.
Well, very much so. When she first came onto the sport, there was no one that could stay with her in the swim. But of course, you kind of almost have to drop your favourite sport a bit to be able to sort of work a lot harder on the other two, which are obviously her bike. She's biking incredibly well, but the run still needs some work.
So Jessica Learmonth leads them through with Lucy Hall just drafting in behind, the two British triathletes at the front of the field. Difficult to tell.
Looks like we've got a fairly good gap there now forming. There's about 8 in the front pack, and I could definitely see quite a bit of daylight there in the second pack.
So here we go, the end of lap 1, and if the computer system is functioning correctly, we'll get a full check on who's where after 750 metres in the water. Jessica Learmonth, number 55, leads them out, jogs along the pontoon, glances over to see Lucy Hall, and Carolina Routier of Spain is third, then Rebecca Clark and Pamela Oliveira. Margaret Van Eck and Katie Zafiris is right up there. Sarah True is 8th. Simone Ackerman coming out in 9th. So that's the front group. Then there's a gap to the two Japanese, Yuko and Yuka. Then Sarah Bro from Canada. Yuri Kato of Japan joins them. Gwen Gorgenson is through in 16th position. So no alarm bells ringing at the moment for Jorgensen. 16th, about 25 seconds off the pace of the first swimmer out of the water, will suffice at the moment for Jorgensen.
Yeah, she's certainly in good company if she stays with these girls. Lisa Norden there, renowned for being phenomenally strong on the bike, as is Kirsten Sweet. And Annie Howe, we haven't actually seen yet. Micah Keller's there from Holland, another strong biker. But I think these girls are really finding this pace incredibly tough.
And the gap has widened. First group of 9. And a break of 7 or 8 seconds as they get to the early part of the second lap. 670 metres to swim.
As the 9 athletes in the front pack try to hang on to the pace that Jessica Learmonth is setting. It's just absolutely phenomenal. They've blown the rest of the field away.
Tough going here. Bit of chop, bit of wind, bit of swirl to battle against. It's a little easier once they make this next turn.
It looks like Carolina Routier from Spain has taken the lead, perhaps giving Jessica a little bit of a rest. Decided the pace is backed on, and she's decided to pick it up again. This is really where her race is in the water.
And Carolina Routier, who's always up there with the leaders in the water, is enjoying this swim. Nice rhythm from Routier. Learmonth, who was the leader for some time, has just dropped back to third now, with Lucy Hall in second. Routier absolutely piling on the pressure here as she comes towards the end of the swim in under 20 minutes. Routier will exit the water and head towards transition to pick up her bike. Routier first out of the water in 19 minutes and 51 seconds, followed by Lucy Hall and Jessica Learmonth. Cracking start for Learmonth. Then Rebecca Clark and Pamela Oliveira and Sarah True. Margaret Vanek and Simone Ackerman follow with Katie Zafiris, the last of that first group of 9 to come out of the water, 9 seconds behind Carolina Routier. So we'll expect this group to ride together at the start of the 40k cycle, which takes in 8 laps of 5 kilometres each, with a very stiff climb on each of those laps. Now they have to get this part right as the second group arrive at the end of the swim. Lots of Japanese interest there. And we'll keep an eye out for Gwen Gorgenson, who was 16th at the end of the first lap and is right there or thereabouts again in 18th at the moment. But as Jorgensen makes her way towards transition, Hall, Routier and hopefully Learmonth will all leave transition together. I didn't catch sight of Learmonth, but I assume she's with this front group. They've gone over the mount-up line and now they're pushing towards the start of the bike, which takes them quickly along Key Street for a quick out and back as the second group arrive in transition. A bit of a stumble, come off the carpet briefly and step on the paving stones as they round that turn and go in search of their bikes. And Takahashi puts her sunglasses on. Gwen Gorgenson looking pretty cool and calm as she reaches position number 1 where her bike is parked. And now they get aboard and exit transition. So we'll have a big pack forming here as everybody's looking around. Lucy Hall just glancing over to see if she can spot Jessica Learmonth, who's in about 5th position at this stage. There's the out and back at about halfway down Key Street. So they should eyeball the second group heading in the opposite direction now. Somebody's getting left behind there with a bit of a gear problem. This is the third group now arriving at transition.
8 laps of 5 kilometres, and as they approach the first hill, and it's going to be interesting to see how they attack this. They've really got to be working. I can't see a lot of urgency right now happening. Lucy Hall from Great Britain deciding to up the pace just a little bit with Carolina Routier from Spain on her wheel. No sight of the second pack though yet.
No, the front group of 9 are clean away at the moment, including Hall and Learmonth from Great Britain. Oliveira Zafiris, who's one to watch, second in Abu Dhabi. She's with the first group of 9. She was beaten into second by Gwen Gorgenson in Abu Dhabi. Jorgensen quite a way back at this stage. We'll get a helicopter view looking down towards Albert Park. This is the central business district of Auckland. And this is the Jorgensen group, the second group. They've hit the climb for the first time.
Yep, just noticing a couple of Canadians on the front. Lisa Norden there, the current silver Olympic medalist in this second pack.
Back end of the lead group of 9 as they cruise down towards the wharf and get to eyeball the chase group heading in the opposite direction. So they'll be able to gauge the distance to the dangerous Gwen Gorgenson, who's within that second group.
Not seeing a lot of teamwork happening here, and it's really important because the second group there are not a million miles away, and that's a really big group. Katie Safira is there really giving this climb a bit of a go, and I guess perhaps thinking that she could get a bit of a breakaway. We saw it last year, and it's likely to happen on this course with all these short, sharp hills. There's 3 hills in 8 laps, so that's 24 hills they've got to go at.
Still 9. 9 came out of the water together. 9 have stayed together for the first of 8 laps that they'll have to negotiate. And they'll hope to keep away from the second group.
Yeah, I wonder what was going through Katie Safira's mind, knowing that Gwen's behind her. She put a minute into her in the 5K to take that race ahead of her teammate, ahead of Katie Safira's in Abu Dhabi. So Katie knows she needs a good couple of minutes if she's going to be able to hold off Gwen on this course.
And now they end lap 1 after 29 minutes, just under 30 minutes in total at the end of the first lap. And the front 9 are Sarah True from the USA, Lucy Hall, Rebecca Clark, Carolina Routier, Simone Ackermann from New Zealand, Katie Zafiris, Margaret Vanek from Hungary, Pamela Oliveira and Jessica Learmonth from Great Britain. Lap 2 underway.
Yeah, this not perhaps the strongest of bike packs. Pamela Oliveira not quite fit yet. Margaret Vanek from Hungary, haven't seen her doing an awful lot of work. She's not particularly strong. We see there, Lisa Nord now leads the second pack, 31 seconds behind. They were 40 coming out of the water, so they've made 10 seconds up on this first lap. Unfortunately, I think this front pack's going to have to work a little bit harder if they're going to hold off a second pack, because they look to me like they are putting some time into them now. I just don't see any urgency. I don't see any teamwork going on. They need to be taking their turns, switching over, and really they're a little bit all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time until 2 become 1. There's the chase group working quite nicely together. The lead group at the moment with Sarah True in charge and her teammate Katie Zafiris alongside, Carolina Routier. And Lucy Hall is controlling things, bossing things around at the front of that group. She's being vocal as usual.
Lucy really needs some help. She doesn't want to be doing all the work. She wants to have a chance of actually getting off the bike with her running legs. She always puts so much effort into the bike, and rightly so, because they've got a break, you know, and they should really work on it. But if you haven't got the rest of the pack on your side, it's not much good.
Another climb in the shadow of the Auckland television tower. Well, Gwen Gorgenson in the chase group is the most successful woman in World Triathlon Series history with 9 wins in total, but there are 2 others who have more World Triathlon podiums than Jorgensen. Andrea Hewitt, who we talked about earlier, has 13. Emma Moffat has 15 World Triathlon podiums. And the most starts is held by Japan's Ai Ueda. She's got more ITU race starts than any other athlete in the contest today. At the end of lap 2, they've completed 39 minutes of round 2 of the 2015 World Triathlon Series in Auckland. And Lucy Hall leads them into transition, followed by the 2 Americans, Zafiris and Sarah True, and the other British triathlete, Jessica Learmonth. This group of 9 now getting closed down. It's just 15 seconds and shrinking all the time to the Lisa Norden group, which also contains Gwen Gorgenson. There she is, exactly 23 seconds behind. Jorgensen will be starting to lick her lips about this, I think. Playing into her hands, rather. As Sarah True eases up alongside the leader, Lucy Hall at the back at this stage. She's done plenty of work at the front. She's totally aware, by glancing over her shoulder, that things are about to change, and the numbers will swell shortly.
Yeah, and I think the next part of this bike is going to get quite interesting, because there's certainly a few athletes in this second pack, which are now about to come the first pack, that I really want to sort of see if they can do some damage to Gwen Gorgenson. At the moment, she's in a great spot and hanging on really nicely, but I expect to see a few interesting attacks happening on one of these 24 climbs in this 40-kilometre race.
Two groups have come together. Well, at this stage in the competition, it's hard to see beyond Gwen Gorgenson, isn't it, with her running skills. She's done what's necessary. Jorgensen crashed here 12 months ago, but if she stays upright today on a drying track, then she should cruise through and take yet another winner. It's hard to look beyond that. Obviously, lots can happen. We've got one down. Kretz of Canada has hit the ground quite hard. Amelie Kretz, number 37, is clearly shaken. I hope it's nothing worse than a bit of shock, but she's being attended to. At the end of lap 3, we'll get a check on the runners and riders who are involved, and it's a big group led by Klammer, Norden and Zafiris, then Pertera of Austria, Bro of Canada, Hall from Great Britain and True from the USA, Sato the first of the Japanese, Hewitt from the host nation, Jorgensen's there in 10th now, Ackerman, Vanek, Oliveira and Jess Learmonth, who was first out of the water, and Learmonth is off her bike. I think that's a technical problem for Jess Learmonth. She's lost her chain, she's struggling to fix it on her own now, and it's a slightly forlorn figure of Jess Learmonth as she tries to make this bike function correctly.
Wow, that's a real shame for her, that really is. We saw that happen last year. I noted that because of the ups and downs, the nature of the course. You've really got to know your gears, you've got to have them really finely tuned. I don't know if she's come in and the chain's jumped off, or if she's just in the wrong gear, but certainly a mechanical there for Jessica Learmonth from Great Britain.
This is what happened to Learmonth. Oh, look at the chain, loosely hanging below the frame of the bike, and that's really unfortunate. Towards the back of the pack is the pre-race favourite, keeping herself out of trouble. Already a winner this season, one in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, and there's Annie Haug there. What a shame. Number 12, Annie Haug from Germany, for me, one of the pre-race favourites. Obviously a mechanical problem there. Similar there to Jessica. The chain's gone.
Yeah, Haug will not get any more out of that bike.
That's a real shame for her.
Haug's woes continue.
Yeah, especially as this is a course that she really likes. It's a course she knows she can do well on because of her strength on the bike.
It's over for Haug. Norden is having a little go here. Norden has injected some pace. No one's gone with her. Norden is making a lone breakaway. Lisa Norden of Sweden, in bright sunshine in Auckland, has opened up a gap of 1, 2, 3 seconds over the next dozen riders. Norden is taking this on, enjoys the hills of this Auckland course, will have no fear of improving her position and increasing that gap when she gets to climb.
I think she's probably thinking, what have I got to lose, really? She knows her run fitness isn't quite there. It will come, but it's not quite there yet. So she says, I've got absolutely nothing to lose. I might as well give it all on the bike, see what I've got at the end of it. If that gives me enough time to get a really decent position overall, then it's certainly all been worthwhile.
And Lucy Hall, one of the first to respond.
Lucy Hall does so much work on the bike, doesn't she? And I'm just wondering sometimes if she would perhaps be better to sit in and let a few of the other girls take some of the load and have a little bit more in her legs when it comes to the run.
Yeah. Great swimmer. Always up there on the bike, but starts to go backwards once the bikes are hung up and the third stage begins. And Hall is now in outright second position.
No, she's caught Lisa Norden again.
She
Lisa
has,
Norden
you're right,
thought,
yeah.
Actually, this is a bit hard. She's dropped back a bit. I think really you need a couple of other athletes. If you're going to really make a go of a break, you need sort of 2 or 3 athletes with you to make a really good go of it. It's pretty tough with sort of 15 kilometres to go to go it alone.
So 12 triathletes in the front pack, and all the main contenders, with the exception of Annie Howe possibly, are involved. It's played perfectly into the hands of Gwen Gorgenson. The lead group have 12.9 kilometres to go on their bikes. The chase group is in a different race completely.
Again, I think the athletes now just kind of looking around, seeing what's going on. I don't think anyone's really prepared to do anything out of this world at this stage in the race. So I think they're deciding just to sit in a little bit, save their legs. No challenge really from behind. Chase pack 1.5 minutes down.
Approaching the end of lap 7 with 1 to go. And no change. Group of 12 where they've been for some time now. They'll take the bell now after an hour and 25 minutes or thereabouts, 24:55. Lucy Hall was with teammate Jessica Learmonth until Learmonth had a mechanical issue with her bike, and Hall now the only British triathlete in this lead group of 12. Moffat is the only Australian at the back, but it's all about Gwen Gorgenson, who's also with this group. And we've just heard that Andrea Hewitt of New Zealand has been given a 15-second stop-go penalty for littering. That's a new development. That may have a bearing on the overall outcome of her race.
Wow, that's really disappointing for her. I mean, maybe it seems a bit silly, but those are the rules. My guess if every athlete was... What would have happened is she would have been taking on a jet. I was going to point it out, I just noticed her a couple of minutes ago, they're just taking on a jet, which a lot of the athletes will do, that has carbohydrates and just gives them that little bit of extra energy going out to the run. So obviously what she's done is she's thrown the paper down and it's got a penalty for it. But I would say that the athletes would know that they will be penalised if they litter on the streets.
Keep New Zealand tidy, they say, but Hewitt didn't.
Oh, and we've got an athlete out there, that's number 56, and that's Rebecca Spence from New Zealand. Rebecca Spence's day's over. Disappointment for her.
So Hewitt is making a break for it towards the end of the final lap. She can take her penalty when she chooses, any time during the run, is that correct? Any time during the 4 laps?
Yeah, that's certainly normally the case. You can see she's just taking off her shoes there now, wanting to get into a good position. I imagine that she'll decide to go out on the run and perhaps sit in during one of the laps.
Jorgensen down the outside. This is where Jorgensen makes her move. Now, she doesn't have to do this. With her running skills, she could come in 12th and still win the race, but she fancies going into transition first. Not often you see a kick of speed like that on her bike from Gwen Gorgenson. She's taking this on, grabbing the race by the scruff of the neck at the end of the 40k bike. The pre-race favourite, Gwen Gorgenson of the United States of America, the world champion, comes towards transition with the Olympic silver medalist Lisa Norden for company at the end of the 40k bike after an hour and 34 minutes of intriguing triathlon on the streets of Auckland. Gorgenson, that was a risky strategy for her, and now she's riding over the cobbles and she wants to avoid any contact, wants to get off her bike right before the dismount line. Good timing. Hewitt's there now. Hewitt has the penalty, which she should find out about. If she doesn't know already, she'll find out about it now as they head towards transition. Hall and Sato and True coming in about 11th, and Emma Moffat, the last of the front group of 12 to arrive. Right shoe on, left shoe on for Gorgenson. Bro is getting set to race. Zafiris making a bit of a mess of transition. She got left behind there, Katie Zafiris. That is something she will need to work on. And away they go. And Gorgenson is not at the front just yet, but will be shortly. It's Frintova who's first to strike, leaving transition. Number 21, the athlete from the Czech Republic, Ventula Frintova, leads them out of transition, and she's opened up not a bad gap. It's a good start on the final stage for Frintova. with Jorgenson currently in second with the green shades, and Hewitt with the penalty, 15-second penalty to take at some point during the next 4 laps in third. And now the field begins to spread.
Oh, Frintova looking really relaxed there. I'm really liking her running style. Very quickly, that first place is going to be taken by Gwen Gorgenson, who's always likes to start off a little bit steady, doesn't she? We normally see her what they call negative split in running terms, where she'll run the second 5K as fast or faster. Oh, Lisa Norden there, just pulling up.
Norden's called it quits early in the first lap as Jorgenson gets onto the shoulder of Frintova. Now, what's happened to Norden here?
Wow, that's really disappointing.
She's not limping, she's not hobbling away, but something has gone drastically wrong for the Olympic silver medalist, and her triathlon is over.
Just noticed when Jorgensen throwing her water into the crowd. I don't know if that was a designated rubbish place or not. And our second group now, the chasers just coming in. Barbara Rivera's from Chile there, leading that chase pack. No timings as yet, but we did hear they were over 2 minutes, and that was on the last lap of the bike course.
Jorgensen has struck for the front. Now, the run course is different to the bike course. It doesn't go up towards the park. They do an out and back along Key Street, back towards Transition, and then they turn left and climb a little up Queen Street, up and down. 4 2.5 kilometre laps to complete the 10,000 metre run at the end of this Olympic distance triathlon. And Jorgensen is in her favourite position, leading the run, the 28-year-old from Wisconsin in the United States of America. The winner overall, the winner in Hamburg 2014. That was just half the story. She won in Yokohama over the full distance. She won the sprint in London, full distance again in Chicago, sprint again in Hamburg, and then won the full distance in Edmonton and won the first race of this season in Abu Dhabi. She is in a league of her own, wearing the golden ones on her thighs. Gwen Gorgenson is on her way to yet another World Triathlon Series win.
Katie Safira there in 4th place, her teammate, just starting to make her move. Had that slightly dodgy transition where she was sort of, fumbling all over the place. I guess that's experience. She really hasn't been in triathlon that long.
At the end of lap 1, Gwen Gorgenson, the world champion, leads the World Triathlon Series in Auckland. Her lead is significant already after 2.5 Ks of 10. 3 laps to go, and Jorgensen is on her own. Zafiris, Frintova and Hewitt sharing second position at this stage, but Hewitt has a 15-second penalty to take at some point. Well, Jorgensen is slowly but surely stamping out any weaknesses she had in her triathlon. The swim was an issue for a while. There's no problem with the bike now if she gets the swim right, and the swim is improving all the time. She already has an advantage of 28 seconds, and it's growing. Zafiris, Hewitt and Frintova looking for water. And Jorgensen will now lap her teammate.
Hewitt just dropping off the pace, that surprises me a little.
It's such an effortless running style.
Yeah, she's on one of the little downhill sections on the run course here.
So second at the moment, was it Zafiris?
That was Zafiris, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the battle for third at the moment between Frintova of the Czech Republic, who's potentially on course for her first ever World Triathlon Series podium today. Jorgensen looking for World Triathlon Series victory number 10, the second of this season. and nothing can stop her now. Katie Zafiris in second position for the United States of America, as she was behind Gwen Gorgenson in Abu Dhabi, round one of the 2015 World Triathlon Series. That's the gap between Zafiris in second to Hewitt in third. Hewitt looks pained now as she approaches the end of lap 3. Jorgensen looks easy, relaxed. She'll take the bell now. 2 hours and 7, 8, 9 seconds to get to within 2.5 kilometres of her 10th World Triathlon Series win. The gap will be closer to a minute now between first and second. Forget about Kyla's, she's been lapped. Still no sign of the next best, which will be Katie Zafiris. Already 30 seconds and counting. The gap between first and second. On to her final lap now. Gwen Gorgenson of the United States of America with less than 2.5 Ks to run. Katie Zafiris on the right is second. The other athlete has been lapped. And it's going to be, I think, more than a minute. 42 seconds at the end of lap 2. It's 60 plus seconds at the end of lap 3. That's how good Gorgenson is. 66 seconds. Goodness me, what a lead. And Hewitt now has to stop and stand still and take the 15-second count for littering.
Oh.
And now she's on her way again, having lost potentially third place. She's been dropped from third to fourth. Hewitt is 12 seconds behind Frintova. That's the difference between third and fourth at the moment.
Let's hope a little bit of that frustration might spur her on to pick up 12 seconds.
Striding out on her own at the front of the field, the world number one. Best triathlete currently on the circuit right now. Takes another drink, a quick shower and a gulp or two of water. And the only company that Gwen Gorgenson has is the motorcycle and the camera on board as Andrea Hewitt desperately tries to make amends, having taken her 15-second stop penalty for littering. Extraordinary.
Well, even sadder is that she's racing in her own country, isn't she? And all the spectators out there hoping for a medal for one of their own, and it looks like it's going to be taken off them because of a penalty.
Well, the gap now between Frintova in third and Hewitt in fourth is about 8 seconds. It was 12, so Hewitt has taken 4 seconds out of Mendola Frintova. Still plenty of work to do if she's to claim a place on the Auckland Triathlon podium. Jorgensen will lead an American 1-2. Forget about Casper. It's Katie Zafiris who currently holds second place for the United States of America. Lucy Hall back down the field. She will be the best of the British triathletes today. They're all a long way distant from the champion. Hewitt has passed Frintova. That is something to celebrate for the Auckland crowd. Despite taking the 15-second penalty, Andrea Hewitt has closed the gap and is on course for a podium finish in her home race. As Jorgensen approaches the final stages of her triathlon, it's been another exhibition performance from the world number one. No one near her. She can walk home and still win this. Jorgensen onto the blue carpet and the crowd recognising that this lady is the very best in the world right now. Gwen Gorgenson wins the Auckland World Triathlon Series in a time of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 4 seconds. Was never troubled once she left transition at the